Okay, so I got a long PM from my brother, and he was talking about how most of the women that he was around, regardless of race, they all had this girls gone wild type of period of their lifetime where, they were just wilding out, with all sorts of men, not just black men, but all sorts of men who were willing and able to get down. And then he went on to say that, uh, why is it that some of the non-black women, okay, almost get away with it and it's not caught, right, by their men? Are they lying? Are they doing this? And first of all, I partly agree with what you have to say. There's going to be some Indian man who's going to marry his Indian princess, or some Asian man who's going to marry, his Asian princess or whatnot. And little do they know that, she's pretty much had all sorts of less than respectful like interactions with men, if you catch my drift. Okay, so the same sort of man, black, white, Latino, doesn't really matter, who they would, die if their daughter was, messing with or involved with. Guess what? Your wife, right, has already had relations with. Boy, if I had a criminal, deviant mind, I should have some secret USB disk with, surveillance footage of these quote unquote, princesses who deserve, this glamorous suburb upper class lifestyle. I'm like, really? Here's footage of you and Tyrone after the basketball game. What's going on, right? Or here's footage of you at, some, white frat house, getting drunk and, flashing people. Wow, are you really so deserving? But at the end of the day, these women, okay, don't even have to lie. Okay, they don't even have to lie because the men aren't asking. So yeah, they can get away with it. Why? First of all, they don't have any children. Right? They don't have any children. That is a key, that is a key indicator of, somebody who's not doing what they have to do. So if they don't have any children, he's not worried on that level. That doesn't raise any warning flags. Secondly, they're not emotionally damaged. They're not saying, "Oh, I've been in bad relationships in the past." That's like, "Oh, okay, so you're telling me." Right? You can't talk about how you've been hurt in the past and how you've been in bad relationships and then talk about how, I've never really dated anybody seriously. You're my first real relationship. Hopefully it works out. It doesn't work that way. Right? You can't try to, demand better behavior out of him by saying you've been hurt before, but then switch it up and say, "Oh, I've never been in any sort of, real relationship, and, I've always been single, and I've just been waiting for Mr. Right," right? You can't do that. So those women aren't emotional wrecking balls. Thirdly, they still have some sort of age component. So yeah, they may have went through the girls gone wild phase, but at 24, 25, they're not doing it. So like I said before, their men don't really have any reason to check. Right? So the fears of, what she was doing in the past and, what black guy has defiled her and, touched her, it's like almost like that whole scene. Y'all remember The Mummy with Brandon Fraser, and one of the opening scenes, they have the Pharaoh and he sees his wife and she has that body paint on and it's smeared because she was having an affair with the Pharaoh, right? And the Pharaoh had touched her shoulder and smeared her body art. And the Pharaoh comes in and says, "Who has touched you?" Right? It's like that. So those men aren't even worried because their body, the women that they want, their body paint is on point. So yeah, she may have had the shaky past and whatnot, and she's trying to, play the biggest cover up in human history, but her body paint is on point, so he's not even looking. So honestly, they don't even have to lie. Right? But for a lot of black women, you don't get that. I laugh when the women talk about, oh, how will you know if your wife was a hoe, or how would you know if your wife did X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, yeah, if you're on point, will I know? No. But obviously, you're leaving me signs to tell me that, yeah, or you're leaving me reasons to investigate, or for me to raise the warning flags, right? Now, she may be legit, but at the end of the day, there's still warning flags. A, you have a child, okay? And there's a difference between a woman who has a kid with where the father's still around, right? Even if he's, some Disneyland dad, the whole idea of, the kids need back to school clothes, dad's there. Christmas gifts for the kids, the PS3s and, the doll houses are there. Okay. New clothes, that's there. So the whole idea of at least there being some Disneyland dad that supports his kids financially, right? That's something. But for a lot of these women, if you really look at their situation, the father's not even there. So there is no, oh yeah, he spends the summer with his father, in Florida. He's just not there. Like, not even there. Or if anything, in jail. But he's just not there. At all. Just absent. As if she woke up one day and, the stork dropped off a baby. Right? Or as if somebody, rang the doorbell and ran off, and there's some, basket with some, baby with a ribbon with a note on the doorstep. So he's just not there. So that is a sign of who you're dealing with. Because we get that people don't work sometimes. Relationships don't work. But at the end of the day, people are still responsible for their children. And like I said before, I think for the most part, a lot of men are so, anti-women with kids simply because of who they had the child with. Because it's a reminder. Right? So it's a slap in the face. It's that whole, okay, you're trying to act as if you're this pristine person and you're so worthy, but yeah, you can't even locate the father of your child. A child. Not the owner of, some a wallet, or some child left their PSP, and you can't find the owner. You can't find the owner of a life. Secondly, you have the women who are so emotionally damaged. Oh, I've been in bad relationships in the past. I've been hurt. I don't know if I can trust. So what does that tell me? You've been in some pretty shitty relationships, right? Because people can be in a relationship, and the relationship doesn't have to work. But at the same time, you don't have to be emotionally damaged. Emotional wrecking balls. Okay, Willie Pete just did a video, and he was talking about how a lot of these light-skinned chicks are damaged goods, so to speak. And I can, testify to that. Okay? So I know the chicks who, or at least the ones that I grew up with, that were the light-skinned, this, that, and the third. And they're damaged emotionally. They're damaged goods. Psychologically, they're done. They can't even cover it up anymore. A lot of them picked up weight. A lot of them are crazy. A lot of them are just down and out. And you can see when somebody's stressed out, right? You can tell when somebody's been through something. So to me, that's a sign, okay, what were you doing? You wear the marks of somebody who's emotionally damaged, right? What did the women think was going to happen when they say, oh, I've been hurt before by men in the past, and I've been cheated on, and I've been played? Do you think we're going to say, oh, poor victim? No. The first thing that we're going to say is, okay, who are you dating? You being in a relationship in the past does not mean you need to come out and be emotionally damaged, emotionally done, spiritually done. No. Doesn't mean that you have to be some wrecking ball. No, it doesn't mean that at all. So to me, it's just like, okay, who are you messing with then? Right? So once again, it's just like the whole idea of raising the warning flags, they've already been raised. Lastly, it's the age. Okay? If you're above a certain age, the warning flags will come up. So you can honestly be legit. You can honestly be that chick who has really been by the book. But if you don't have age on your side, my warning flag is going to go up regardless. Right? So, all the things that, some of the non-black girls do that quote unquote have the wild out phase, and they're not punished for it. Well, they're not punished because the men aren't checking for it. So yeah, they're getting away with it. Am I saying it's right? No. But they get it. But for the women, it's funny because, and I've been getting this for a while. Oh, you'll never know. And this is even before YouTube. Oh, you'll never know if your girl was a hoe, and, you'll never know. We're just lie about it. I'm like, y'all being real candid right now. You guys are being real open right now, as if we're a fool, right? Because I'm a big person. I'm big on the whole idea of, your past will be exposed. But, a lot of women are so, gun-ho on the whole idea of, oh, don't worry about it, girl. You don't have to tell them everything. But I'm like, yeah, you don't have to say anything, right? Most of the time, you guys give away the whole idea of what you're doing in the past. I don't have to say anything, right? So in closing, yeah, there's women that get away with, being, deviants or whatever you want to call it, but they don't have kids, they're not emotionally damaged, and they still have youth. So the men that, they have tricked or deceived don't even know they're being tricked or deceived because they never had their warning signs up, because they never gave him any reason to have them up. So y'all take it easy. God bless.